what else? At height, squares and rectangles. Had enough of all that. Now we're going to go into story time instead. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to tell you a story, or perhaps read you a story. We will ask you questions in a bit. And we have some rules. One is when we ask you to answer individually, you have to answer, you have to think a little before you answer, okay? Because otherwise we say, okay, how many of you do this? And hands go up immediately. No, think for a moment and then answer, all right? And if you're supposed to discuss an answer, then actually answer after discussing, all right? Okay. So, shall we tell a story? It's the story of a little boy, not a little boy, you would want to hear little there, of a boy called Padu. Padu's about your age. Yes. Funny name? Okay. Alright, I will read this one. That's easier. So one day, Padu did something he had never done before. What he did was, his father had gone out for a walk. Are you okay? Padu's father had gone out for a walk, and Padu took out his father's wallet, took a 500 rupee note from it, put the wallet back. Right? Now his father came back from his walk, and he got ready to go to work. He took his wallet, put it in his pocket. He had a number of 500 rupee notes in the wallet, so he didn't check or he wouldn't miss it, right? He hadn't counted, so he wouldn't miss it. Now, when he was getting ready, putting the wallet in his pocket and so on, Padu was watching very carefully. And when his father was leaving, he didn't say anything to him. He didn't say anything about having taken money from the wallet. Okay, now, what do you think? Did Padu do something wrong? Yes. Think first and then individual. Those who think that Padu did something wrong, raise your hands.
Padu did something wrong.
28, I counted 28. Can we see? Some people are raising 2 hands. Can we see a show of hands for those who don't think Padu did anything wrong?
Show of hands of but just raise your hand.
Now this could be 10. This could be that I don't know how to count, or that there are several of you sitting on the fence.
How many
Those
of you
who
think not right, not wrong? Neutral.
8 neutrals.
8.
Does that add up? Still some people, at least 5 people who haven't said anything. You haven't raised your hands. Okay, let's see. I have a show of hands of those who didn't raise hands before. For any of them. All of you did. In which case, I counted wrong in the first time. All right. Those who think that he did something wrong, why do you think it was wrong? Now, this is not individual answers. Think in the same groups that you had earlier. Think with your partner, and when you have an answer, both of you raise your hands. Joint hands, like Badu. Okay, finish discussing? All right, since you raised your hands first. Okay.
Without telling anybody he took the money from the wallet, then it becomes stealing.
Okay. Taking it without telling the person makes it stealing, and stealing is wrong. That's what you're saying. Okay? Yes.
It was not true that he didn't tell anybody. He just went and took the money. So maybe previously his father only may have asked him to take the money from the wallet. It is not told like that.
Aha. That's a gap in the story. Now, suppose we assume that his father hadn't told him to take it. He hasn't told anyone, he hasn't asked anyone. He's taken it and he has not told his father. It's still wrong? All right, now, okay, go ahead.
It's because now we are not to the end and we can't say that it is wrong. It's not the end of the story, so we can't say that it is wrong or right. So being at a neutral level is okay.
All right, okay, fair enough. Good. Now, those...
A principle, so should we write that stealing is wrong, somebody says?
Yes, yes.
So you have to define stealing.
Actually, they said taking something without asking is stealing, and stealing is wrong. They had two statements there. Now, before we go anywhere else, those who think that it was not wrong, it was not that you couldn't decide, but it was not wrong. Both of you thought it was not wrong. Okay? All right.
Because it depends on the situation. It depends on the situation. If his father was not allowing him to take it, then and if it was for the good cause, then it can be good. But if he was taking for a bad cause, so then it can.
All right. You're taking us into something else. So I'm going to wait till a little longer, and then you'll see where we go. All right? I think somebody here wanted to say. Same answer. Okay. Now I'm going to do.
Even though my friend said that if it is for a good cause and it is morally right, but even if it is for a good cause, still you are in the wrong. You are taking the wrong path to your goal. So it is still morally wrong, even if it is for a good cause.
Okay. Doing something wrong is, doing something, or let's for now say stealing, is wrong even if it is for a good cause. All right?
You can always
Ask whom?
the higher authority. If it is for a good cause, maybe when you are stealing from me, give you. If it is for a good cause, then.
All right. Okay. I think we need to go forward with the story because you're anticipating things in the story. All right?
So we have one statement right now, based on which they have given their moral judgment. Stealing is morally wrong, whether for a good or a bad cause. Yes, and some of them say that since they did not know the cause, it's morally neutral right now. So we'll go ahead with the story.
Okay, is there anything else that you wanted? Getting the principles down there, or the, what is morally wrong and not, or right, or neutral. Is there anything you want to add there? Should we write anything else? Have we left anything out? No, okay. So, next part of the story. Now, Palu had a friend called Tron. Tron was also his classmate. Palu had just found out that Tron hadn't been coming to school for a week. And Palu had just found out that that was because Tron's father was ill. And Palu also knows
that trans family can't really afford, they don't have enough money for trans father's treatment. And that is why he took the money to help trans. Okay. For those who thought that it was wrong, what Padu did was wrong, so those 28 people, for you, would you change your judgment or do you stick with your judgment? Okay. How many of you would change your judgment? No one.
From morally neutral to morally right or wrong, or from morally right, wrong to right, whichever way you want to change.
Morally neutral.
So what did you say earlier?
Morally right. Wrong.
You had said wrong, but now you're saying you're neutral.
Yes.
All right.
These actually on both the sides. First he took for some good cause, then without asking anybody also still.
So, doing something for a good cause, should we like that also as a principle? Right? So, helping someone or doing something for a good cause is morally right. Yes?
Can we ask her why did you change your moral judgment?
Because earlier I thought he did something wrong. Because earlier I thought he did something wrong. Because I thought he did something for a bad cause, but he's stealing the money to help trans father. That's why I think he
So
did.
now we can draw the second principle from what you thought. That helping someone is morally right. Can we write that down?
Yes.
Ma'am, he could even had spoken to his parents about it. Then maybe the parents would have helped him.
Yeah. So sometimes you're feeling that we need more information to come to a moral judgment.
Yes. Maybe that the parent will give more money than what you are stealing.
Or else,
They could disagree.
or they might disagree.
So in that case, would you like to change your, what did you say earlier about father?
It is right.
You said right. You said morally right.
He could have suggested his friend to apply for a loan.
Any other suggestions? No? Okay, so anything else that we need to add there? No? Okay, let's go to the next part of the story.
Okay, he has to say something.
Helping someone through right path is morally right.
Okay, so we have to helping someone
Through the right.
using the right means. That's what you want to say? Yes.
Does that are you also suggesting then that using the wrong path to help someone is wrong? Yeah? So we have to say both, not just that it's right, but also that. Yes.
You could give an example like if your friend is getting low marks in your exam, so instead of helping him to copy your paper in the exam, you could help him during the exam time preparation. So that is the right means. And people call copying as a wrong path to getting more marks. So that can be an example.
Okay, good example.
He could have taken the money from his own savings. He could have taken the money from his own savings, not from the father's.
What if he doesn't have his own savings? All right. I think you're ready. You have thought about these things far too much for this story to be any use to you. But okay, let's go on to the next part of the story anyway. Now suppose Paru had told his father that Tron's father was ill, very ill, and didn't have the money for treatment. Paru knows from his past experience that his father would not have offered to help. And if Paru had asked him to help, explicitly told him, look, you need to help, his father would have refused. Okay? So now some of the suggestions that you gave don't work. All right. If Padu had told his father about taking the money, the only result would have been that Padu would have been punished and the father would have asked him to return the money. This was why he didn't tell his father.
So after knowing the reason, anybody wants to change your position? You want to change your position? Or
Change your position? Or yes or no? What was your first position? It was wrong or right, not wrong? He did something wrong.
so would you like to change now? Yes.
Morally wrong.
It's still morally wrong. Anybody wants to change or would like to add something?
I would like to be neutral from wrong.
You changed from wrong to neutral.
I would change from wrong to right because he was doing it to help someone, and if he would have even asked his father for the money, he wouldn't have given, and his father would have lost his life. So he was saving his life.
Okay, so he was saving a life.
I'm changing from morally wrong to morally neutral because we don't know what will happen next in the story, so I would like to decide it on the basis of that.
Yes, the story has ended. Unless you want to continue with the story. Do you want to add to the story?
Under what conditions would she change to?
Yeah. Yeah. Before you continue with the story, actually, they've already given their reasons for.
No, she can create her own reasons for changing the thing. Because she's
You
a
have,
senior.
oh, you haven't given your reasons for changing. All right.
She can create the scenario.
I would change because he knew that his father wouldn't allow him, but he wanted to help his friend. And he saw that helping was a greater good. And he did it because
Okay.
So he wanted to help and he knew that his father would have said no. That's why he took the money, and he would have gotten punished if he had told, and he was doing it for the greater good, so I think it was right. I mean, morally neutral. Kind of.
You can always apply for a medical loan or something.
Why?
That is more
Okay.
You can always apply for a medical loan, and after you get well, you can repay it back. So there is
Change from neutral to right. He was doing the deed was right. I would be wrong, and I would still like to be wrong because a value is a value, and you can't change it whenever you want it as per your situation.
That's something that I think we need to write.
Now, let's share first. You should once again review our principles and see where we are.
If Tron was his good friend, Paru should be ready to face anything for him. So even if his father scolds him, he would have taken the money and later told his father, and he should face the scoldings of his father.
But the father would ask him to return the money back.
Then he should do something to
Do another morally wrong thing.
no.
Okay. All right. So there's one point that I was going to bring up, and you brought it up. What you're saying is you shouldn't not do something just because you're afraid of punishment, right? Okay. supposed to add. No, but
Someone
Okay.
wants to share something. Let him finish.
I will like to add to her point that he should be ready to face the consequences, and yeah, if the father asks him to return the money, he should tell his friend to return it as he can after the father gets well from his father's earning to return the money, and then he can return it to his father.
all right. What if his father says, you took it, you bring it back right now? What's he going to do? Right? Just imagine that situation.
This might lead him to evil tendencies of some stealing, or if he's really in need.
Alright. So stealing once might lead to lead other tendencies, wrong tendencies.
Morally right, we should not think about the consequences.
Or maybe he will say that he will try to convince his father and say that he will try to convince and say that I can face anything, but he will return the money. Means his friend will return the money after and then he can.
Okay. So he should have tried to convince his father. But we said that from his past experience, he knows that his father is not going to be convinced.
It's not that the one thing is going to get repeated always.
True. Let me change the scenario a little bit. When your father goes out, he takes the money, and his father comes back. He says, I took the money.
His father asks him,
What did you do with it? I gave it to somebody who needed to be, whose father needed to be saved, otherwise he would have died. And his father says, who did you give it to? And he says, I'm not going to tell you. And his father punishes him, and he says, that's fine, but I'm not going to tell you. In this situation, what would you do? I just have one more question to ask. You know about Hitler, right? Yes. Nazi. During the Nazi time, somebody was hiding Jews in his basement.
Yes.
So there was a... So, was it right for the person to tell the lie and say, no, I don't have any Jews, right? I don't have any Jews hiding in my basement? Was that morally right or was that morally wrong? He told a lie.
At that time it was right. Why don't you give that? Why don't you give that light switch example?
What?
Why don't you give that switching off the light
No,
example?
they have already, they think that telling a lie was perfectly okay.
No.
But, no? Okay, but we can discuss.
So I've decided for you that telling a lie is wrong. Okay? I'll put it down. Do you agree with me? Yes. Okay. Okay, saving a life is not just morally right, but even morally commendable, desirable. Okay? Now, yes, you want to say something.
But even if, Sir gave the example that he told a lie to save lives of many different Jewish people, even though he said a lie to save people, it is still morally wrong. Because you cannot bend morals according to even if the situation is very precarious, you cannot bend any laws. Like you cannot bend any laws in any situation. The same thing goes with principles and morals. He could have just changed the situation to something else.
All right. Now, yes.
it's not that always we have to follow the principles, because principles can make, means if there's a small problem, the principles can make it greater if it's something, the situation is some different.
All right. So let me, that's what. Let me just, I think, see if this is what some of you are trying to say. Now, no matter what you say, telling lies is wrong, right?
Depending on the situation.
Okay, let's leave the situation aside. Let's say telling lies is wrong, all right? But also, saving a life is good, is desirable. What happens if you have a situation when you put these two statements together and you end up with a conflict?
Saving a life is morally commendable, but telling a lie is wrong.
Wrong.
This is more.
Telling a lie will be a big wrong, but now what you do is you put the two pieces together, and what you are all saying is the second one is more important than the first one. When there's a conflict, whichever one is more important wins.
You have no other way.
If you have no other way, yes.
You want to give them a sin of omission?
A person's life is more important than a person's morals.
All right, a person's life is more important than a person's morals.
In such situations, the leadership quality of a person is shown, means it is seen by the other person, people, because in the leadership quality, decision making is the most important part, and in such situations, it is a tough decision, but a good decision can make a life and a bad decision can destroy a life.
You guys are so wise, and you've thought about all of these things. Now, I think there is one thing perhaps that you have not thought of, maybe. Now, we said you have these two principles, and you were trying to say that, you were looking at situations and saying no matter what, telling a lie is wrong, and so on. And what we just did was to separate the two and say that in this particular case, the example of Anne Frank, for example, number two was more you think two, for all of you, two is more important than one. Right? Agreed? No, okay. Some of you think it was wrong. All right.
Because even if you tell the lie to save the person, then you will pay back for your sin afterwards. So he is going to die anyway after that.
Okay. Now,
one is more important than two? Raise your hand, please. How many of you think one is more important than two? 1, 2, 3. And how many of you think one is equal to two? How can you have one greater than two and one equal to two?
I didn't know that the second option was
One greater than two? 3 of you, right? One equal to two? 2 of you. 3 and you.
okay, now notice, you have a difference of opinion, right? Or let's put it as a difference in your moral judgment. The question is, where is that judgment coming from? This is a judgment, this kind of judgment is something that we make every day, a lot of times every day. So where is that judgment coming from, and why is there a difference in your judgments? And what we are saying is that the difference in judgment comes from, you have these two principles which are there, which don't change, but you're saying, why, if for some of you, for most of you, two is more important than one. For a very few of you, one is more important than two. And then for a couple of you, they're both equally important. Right? Okay, similarly, when we come to these, notice you have much more variation in your judgments, in your moral judgments in the Padu and Tron story, right? Where is that difference coming from? Let's see.
The intensity of the situation.
Is it just the intensity of the situation, or is it what we call the interaction of the different principles that you might have, right? Where one principle might be stronger or more important for you than another. Yeah? Want to go through that?
Yes. First one, you have said that taking something without asking is stealing. And the next one is helping someone
Is morally commendable. So these two statements are conflicting, right? Using the right means, and you have also stated that helping someone using the wrong means is morally wrong. Now let's come to the third statement then. Helping someone, independently helping someone will be morally commendable, but using the wrong means, that is not good. So when it comes to, let's only look at statement 3. There are two conflicting things. And as he so wisely put together that we have to make right decisions at the right time. Making decisions is the most important thing in leadership. I really didn't know all these things. Very important things I learned. So how will you make your decision? And what Tara had asked you is, why aren't we, all of us, thinking the same way? Why are there slight variations or sometimes quite a big variations in our moral judgments? So where are these differences coming from? This is what you have to think and then answer.
Everyone's perspective of looking at the world is different. Everyone follows different basic principles, and everyone thinks that okay, so and so principle is the best, and the effect of the other one is not that much as the first one. So as everyone has different perspectives and different basic principles, so it differs in their moral judgment.
Yes.
Experience is the best teacher, they say. So each one has their own experience and everyone thinks by their own experience. So it might be that my experience is something different from the other. So I will rely on my experience.
Important point. He said perspective, that is different, and he said, she's saying where those perspectives are coming from our experiences. Very nice.
There is no one who has kind of put a theory like these principles are this and you have to follow them. So it's not like that. So everyone can have different viewpoints, and it also depends on our surroundings. Like if our parents are helpful, we are not scared to tell them anything. Like if there was someone in place of Pandu and that person's parents were helpful, he would not do any wrong thing, but Pandu was in different case. That's it.
Okay, I actually have a question. Now, it has come up from two of you that different people may have different principles. And you also said that nobody has taught us, there is no written theory of moral rules and so on. The question is, one, do we really have different principles, or a yes or no for the same principles? Number one. Number two, even though there is no external moral theory, a set of moral rules, don't each of us have some sense of right and wrong? Yeah? We all have that, right? We might know something is right and violate it. That's a different thing. Or we may not value a moral principle. But don't we all have a shared, at least a set of shared moral values, if we really start thinking about it? This is not for you to answer right now. This is just for you to think about. Okay, let's get back.
There was some more.
If you bend your moral principles, even for helping for a good cause, it will get easier to bend it the next time. So if you keep on doing that, you will end up becoming a morally bad person. Because it will get easier to bend the rules again, once you do it the first time.
Then it might lead to something else. You might have to tell lies because you have stolen.
In this situation, basically the relation between the parents and the children should be a bit nice, and the duty of both of them to keep their relationship healthy. So I guess the relationship matters the most.
Coming from is the relationship. I think we'll first go at the back, they're waiting, and then we'll again come.
What Saumitra said was really right. You can take the example of Ram and Krishna. So Ram was a follower, everyone knows, he was follower. He even left his wife to follow the laws, what the people said. And we look at Krishna. We both know that they are forms of Vishnu. So we look at Krishna, then in the war he told Arjuna that to killing his relatives is good there, because otherwise they are only going to go there. This is this material body. The soul is bad, so we have to kill it. So because of their styles and situation it varies.
I think we're going to stop with this story. Oh, you have heard the voices. Yeah.
Okay. I think that Saumitra said was right, but by person it differs. So some think that we have to only follow the morals, but some think that saving someone's life is more important than our morals.
Okay. Saving someone's life is also part of our moral system, right? So it's really a conflict between two different morals. We're going to stop here with this story. I'm going to ask you just very quickly another one in 5 minutes, and then we will stop. Suppose you are driving down the road and you hit someone, okay, and that person falls, is injured. You are in a rush and you rush off. You could have stopped to help that person, but you don't. You go off. He's not okay. Is that right? Is going away right? No. No. Why?
But it also depends how much impact he has got, how much hurt, which kind of accident.
Okay, which kind of accident? No, I'm going to change the scenario a little bit. Okay, in this case, he hit the person, and it was wrong of him not to stop and help. All right, I think you would all agree with that. Now, what if he sees someone who is seriously injured? This person is going down the street and sees someone seriously injured, knows that if he doesn't help, that person is going to die, but doesn't stop. Did that person do anything wrong?
Yes.
He didn't do anything. How can he do something wrong?
But he starts at but he had
See, lots of hands up.
Yeah, you say them.
But he had the opportunity to save that person, though he hadn't done anything wrong to him.
He had the opportunity to say that.
Ma'am, but this shows that he was a careless person. But he had no problems, but he didn't help the man who was injured.
Ma'am, but it also depends, like where he was going, where the person was going. Was he going for serious work,
So it doesn't matter.
Alright, let's refine the story.
Let's refine the story. He sees this person injured. There's nobody else. He knows that he is not going to be helped by anybody else because there is no one around, no one else around. And if he doesn't help him, the person's going to die. He is going to a party. How many of you think what he didn't do was wrong?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is, you got the story. This person, there was nobody else to help him. He would die without help. And this person could have helped him, could have easily helped him. He was going to a party, but didn't stop to help. Was he wrong?
Yes.
How many of you think he was not wrong? He was not wrong. We certainly want to hear.
Most of our things would contradict this statement, but everyone knows that interference is the root cause of all chaos. If probably we can make a change. If that person was hit by a gunshot by a serial killer and we saved him, the serial killer will be angry about us. He wouldn't be. Interference is the root cause of all chaos.
Okay, I am going to take your word chaos in the technical sense of chaos in physics and set it aside, all right, because the rest of you agreed on this. So, you didn't agree.
The person did not do something wrong.
All right, now the question is,
If the person would have come from wrong side, then then he would obviously think that he is coming from wrong side. Then why should I wait? It is his fault. Then why should he wait?
all right, now one thing that was clear was it was possible for him to save his life. Let's not look at the reasons why the person injured was injured. It was possible for this person to save the other person's life, and he didn't do it. Okay? Just keep just that. And within that, how many of you think that he didn't do anything wrong? Just one person? One more? You didn't think he did any? All right. Okay. So for the rest of you then.
He might have done this out of fear. He went away, so he might have feared that what if I helped him and I'm again in it.
So because of fear, so you think he didn't do anything wrong? Okay, I'm not asking right now for why he, I mean, any of the other things, but do you think he did something wrong? That was the only question. Yes, and there were, I think, just two people who think he didn't do anything wrong. Now, why do you think, in other words, what is your principle for saying that he did something wrong? What does it follow from?
The viewers of a crime are also criminals.
So what about the Anne Frank story?
Yeah, no, but he had the same answer.
No, his Anne Frank's version was, it is wrong to lie.
Yeah.
And it is okay to not save life.
No, he could have bended the situation. The person can change the situation.
He had a choice to save lives and he didn't do that. Was
You said you can't bend law, the moral principle.
Yes.
I believe that turning your back on someone's life is wrong, morally wrong in every possible way.
Okay, so we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to just write this.
what does that have to do with
Yes? Again, notice this is not, we're not looking at the context. We're just saying we just have the general principle, not saving a life when you can is wrong. Do you agree that that's where all your judgments came from? No? Okay, very quickly, one last comment.
It again differ from situation to situation. If our terrorist is captured, he can say that there are no companions of him, and he's saving their lives, but it's morally wrong.